A year ago, I bought this, my first ever professional wildlife filming camera. Before that, I had been using this little guy, and don't get me wrong, I made some fun videos with it, some that you can still see on the channel, but I was missing something. I was filming things in nature that I knew if I had a professional level camera, that would look straight up planet Earth quality. So I saved up, I got this bad boy, and within this past year, I've traveled all across the world, filmed all across the United States, and got some really cool footage. But I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at the 5 best shots I've been able to get as a newbie wildlife filmmaker within 1 year. I'm still very new to this. I don't even film and log. I don't really use manual focus, it scares me, and so these are not the highest level of what I hope to achieve, but I think it'd be a really cool thing to take a look at what maybe some of you guys can expect after a year of filming wildlife. Now, most of these shots are completely new, things you have never seen on the channel before, and stuff I might eventually edit into videos in the future, so you're getting a nice sneak peek at what might be to come, and at the end I'm going to show you a whole lot more of the footage I've collected. I will put in my show reel, which has all of my favorite shots, about a minute straight of some really cool footage that I've gotten this past year of wildlife. So I hope you guys enjoy and maybe learn a thing or two, and hopefully think these shots look as cool as I do. Alright, number 5. This is actually my only international inclusion, and it comes from the country of the Philippines. I filmed so many cool animals there, whether it be tarsiers or colugos, but the wildlife clip that stands out to me, the shot that I'm most proud of, actually came about 30 feet from the door to my room at the resort I was staying in. It was on the island of Bohol, and I heard some rustling on this concrete wall, and I looked, and a monitor lizard popped its head, and I really wanted to film monitor lizards when I was in the Philippines, and I waited, it came back, got this great shot of its like arm reaching over the concrete wall like something out of Attack on Titan. The way its face looked, the intelligence in its eyes made me think of those Compsognathus from Jurassic Park, and it was so cool. Not only does the shot look really cool, but it was of a Samar monitor lizard, which is very rare. It's only on 3 islands in the Philippines, and I posted a screenshot from that video on iNaturalist, and that photo is the first ever photo posted of that species to iNaturalist, which is like, for anyone who likes to look for animals, they post pictures of their finds there. To find anything that doesn't have a photo already is so rare. And the second I posted that photo, I actually got a message from someone saying they worked for Emerson's Side. I was like, man, where have I heard that before? And it turns out it was from the guy that wrote the book of Philippine reptiles I was using during my trip. So that was amazing. The fact that this guy, the first place I heard about that species of monitor lizard, they wanted my photo for a database of Philippine reptiles. So that was so cool, and an experience I won't forget. Alright, number 4. This happened a lot closer to home. This was filmed in the state of Arizona, and I went on a trip with Spencer from the YouTube channel My Wild Backyard. It was a really fun trip. We found so many cool creatures, a lot of venomous, crazy ones. But the shot I was most proud of was we were looking for vinegaroons, and we were walking through this tall grass, and Spencer sees some weird shape on a blade of grass, and we look over, and it's a Arizona mantis just chewing in to a white-lined sphinx moth. It was just so brutal looking. And this was the first trip I got to use my macro lens, which I had just bought. I was thinking, oh man, this is perfect. I can get as close as I want. It's not going to fly away. And the shots I was able to get, I was just stunned with. It just tearing into this sphinx moth, fluff and all the scales of the moth flying in its face. It was so cool. But the shot in particular I think I like the most is actually a peaceful one. It was actually cleaning its leg using its weird alien mouth parts, and then when it's done, it just tilts its head in this really cool way. So I liked that shot a lot. Not as gruesome, a little bit more PG than the other stuff I filmed during that trip, and definitely one that sticks in the memory books. Alright, number 3. Now this and the mantis one are the only two that I have featured on the channel, and this one is a pretty fun story. So my most popular video ever was of a satellite fly harassing a cicada killer, but when I filmed that happening, I had no idea what was happening. So to help with my research, I actually bought this giant $80 book about flies, and I love flies. My 3 most popular videos now are about flies. So I was looking up this satellite fly, trying to figure out what it was, and I stumbled upon a chapter talking about this thing called a worm lion, and it said it was this venomous fly larva that dug a pit in the sand and constricted ants and envenomated them. And I thought that was the coolest thing, and I was like, man, someday I'm gonna film that thing. And the title, I see it now, venomous sandworm strikes like a cobra. I'm gonna get so many views. So that was in the back of my mind, and I looked on iNaturalist. Not a single post of a worm lion larva anywhere in New Mexico. The nearest were in like California. So I was thinking, maybe someday I'll go down to California and film them. But one day I was off on a job filming in northern New Mexico, and I look under these boulders and there's these sand pits, and I'm thinking, they're a little closer together than an antlion. They're a weird shape compared to an antlion. Are these the worm lions? And I went back there with my mom actually, and she wanted to see all this other wildlife. She wanted to see otters, you know, things everyone loves. And I'm just focused on these tiny little pits under this rock. And sure enough, I wait for an ant to walk in, and they are made by worm lions. And I was so happy. I used my macro lens again, got some close footage. My favorite shot of this just super long take, you can see it in the worm lion video I made, which past Donnie's intuition was right. It ended up being currently my 2nd most viewed video. But it's this long take, this worm lion just flinging sand at this ant. It like freezes up, the venom takes hold, and then it falls into the awaiting grasp of the worm lion. And the whole time my mom's just like, are you really still filming that? I mean, come on, let's keep walking. I was there for like an hour. But really just bizarre footage. I think only PBS has the other antlion footage out there. So I was really happy to get it, and I thought it turned out really well. Alright, number 2. This one and number 1 were actually filmed really close to each other. They're both at this riverside forest in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That is the place I go to the most to look for wildlife, so it makes sense that I'd have my 2 favorite shots come out of that place. And the place I work is also right there, and I hear from some people that there's a Cooper's hawk nest, one of my favorite raptors. So I go out into the forest, and sure enough, Mom and Dad Cooper's hawk are sitting on their nest, and I decide for the next like month and a half to just film this family. I film the chicks right when they've hatched, their big old fluffy white cotton ball looking faces. They start to get more feathers, they look a little more ratty looking, they finally almost look like adult hawks. And on one of my times heading out there, I spook the mother that was like on a branch right in front of me. I didn't even see her. And right behind her was one of the babies I had filmed since before it had even hatched. And it was sitting on this poor bird it had captured, and it was just tearing into it. And the footage I got of it just disemboweling this poor creature, flies buzzing all around it, the lighting, everything, it just looks so cool. My favorite predation shot by far. And the fact that I had been with this little guy since he was a cute innocent baby and now he was tearing into his own prey. And I think his mom may have actually dropped off the bird for him, kind of like, you know, mom dropping off a kid's sack lunch at school. So either way, it was just such a cool experience and a really great shot, but even that is not my favorite. Alright, my number 1 favorite shot, and again, this happened like less than a quarter of a mile away from where I filmed those hawks. And I didn't actually find this animal myself. I got a phone call at about 7 a.m. I had just woken up, and they're saying, "Hey, Donnie, what are you doing right now?" Just waking up. Well, I'm standing here in front of a tree that has 2 bobcats in it. So are you like interested in that at all? And never in my life had I driven quicker than in that moment. I like threw on clothes, grabbed my camera, hustled on down to the other side of town, ran to this stretch of forest that had the bobcats, and sure enough, I met up with the person who spotted them. And to see a creature so elusive, these wildcats, not just one, but 2 of them in the same tree, so close to me. There's a female way up in the high branches of the tree, and then a male sitting lower, like eye level in this tree. And I'll admit it, I got way too close to these things than I probably should have. I still like kept like an appropriate distance, but what I'm thinking happened, I still need to ask some biologists, is that the male bobcat was kind of guarding the female from another male bobcat that was in the area. So he was kind of like trapping her up in that tree. And there's 2 shots that I got from this that I love, and one is almost perfect. It is of the male bobcat. It's looking at the camera. A bead of blood is dripping from its mouth. And then, like an idiot, I bump the camera and move it right before it drops because I didn't even see the blood. It was so close that I didn't even see it on the screen. So it was almost like such a good shot, and I messed it up at the end. But the shot, I mean, I filmed the female coming down the tree, which was really cool. But the shot looking from below of this female bobcat in the tree, and then it slowly turns its head and looks right at the camera. I thought that was such a special moment. I mean, with such an elusive creature, with a shot that like almost no one else has gotten, like directly under a bobcat. That was just so cool, and it has to go down as my favorite shot. Now, if those 5 shots weren't good enough, I'm gonna show you a whole lot more. I compiled a show reel of all my favorite shots I've gotten this year. It's about like a little over a minute long. So let me know which of these 5 shots were your favorite, or if it's one from the show reel, let me know. And let me know any really cool shots you guys may have gotten, and especially any of you other videographers out there. Wildlife Brothers, I'm looking at you. You guys have a nice camera, and I know you guys filmed some cool stuff. I'd love you guys to share your 5 best shots you've gotten with your cameras. So enjoy the show reel, and I'll see you guys next time.